Hello, everybody. A little glitch this morning. I'm so sorry we're running a few minutes late, but I've got the beautiful Mareena with me today, Mareena Corbett, and she's going to be talking about her amazing business. So because we are running a little late, I'm going to hook straight in. Is that okay, Mareena?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me here with you, Sharon, in your group, your beautiful group of people. And today, I'll just share a little bit about myself first. Who am I? What am I doing?
Thank you.
Yeah, great. So as Sharon said, I'm Mareena Corbett. I live in Melbourne. I'm originally from Sydney, and I'm a mum of 3 adult children. My baby is about to turn 21 next week. My daughter, and I have 2 older twin boys who have just turned 23. So my life has changed as a mum. I'm not as needed as much as I used to be. And I have a beautiful husband, Daniel. So we'll be 24 years married in October.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate for the family that I have. And has it been easy? No. Do we ever expect it to be easy? No. But you know what? We've got a beautiful home life and we're still all living home together. That's, I'm sure, about to change soon as they're starting to get older. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me personally. Throughout that time, I've always been the working mum, and I was fortunate to have Daniel as the stay-at-home parent in the early years as they were growing up.
That's great.
And when you think about it, and I always acknowledge him for this too, 23 years ago, that was quite uncommon in the family makeup, and he did everything. Like, that was the agreement of, I was still quite young. I was in my early 20s, just starting out in my career, and he's 10 years older than me. And it was just the discussion. We decided what works best for our family. And I still loved working. I've always loved working. I was in a leadership role with a really beautiful company at the time. And after, I think the boys were 11 weeks old, I went back to work, and Daniel took on all duties. From waking up in the middle of the night, you know, when they went to school, on the canteen, reading, school council, everything.
Wow.
So I do feel quite fortunate when people say to me, how have you done it with 3 kids and you were so young? I definitely couldn't have done it without that whole family unit working together.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you worked a lot in corporate, didn't you, in those days?
And yeah, I've done, again, looking back, I love doing these conversations, Sharon, because it's a beautiful opportunity to look back and appreciate and feel grateful for the opportunities I've had. So I did start out in communication. So I've worked in private, corporate, and up till most recently in government. And throughout that time, the pattern that I've had is I've actually never been the technical expert. I went quite early. From at the age of 21, I started leading teams, maybe even a little bit earlier in more of the retail as I was studying. But I found myself just in this love of leading teams and leading people and helping people grow, is probably how I saw it at the time, was more around, how do I help people grow? Because when you can help someone shift their mindset and see them progress, even the little steps, there was just something about it for me that was like, oh, I love this. And so I continue just to follow that. I think, the word leadership might get overused, or people think, oh, what do you mean when you say leadership? It was really about knowing people, getting close to people, understanding what they needed. And I just had definitely a talent, or definitely a gift, to be able to connect with people. But the satisfaction I got when I could see other people grow is just what got me addicted to it. So throughout my career, I've never, while I've led people in marketing teams, sales teams, engineers, IT, doesn't matter, I've never been that technical expert, but that's the great thing with leadership, isn't it? We don't need
Yeah.
everything.
No, that's it. And that's now how you've transitioned into your business. Is that right?
Exactly.
Tell
Yeah.
us a
So
little bit about that now.
for sure. So I have, 25 years of leading teams. And while I loved it and have so much variety and so much that I've been able to gain from it, what I started to realize, particularly through the last 2 years of whatever, and I don't want to get into that, but the immense change that the world's been through.
Yeah.
There was something really calling out to me throughout that time, and it's still happening when you read the amount of people that are leaving workplaces and you look at the statistics around that. So if we dig into that a little bit, people are leaving workplaces at enormous rates because they've had everyone's different, right? There's not one reason. But when I read research, when I have a look at the reports that have been done, but when I'm working with my own clients, what I'm hearing is making more choice for themselves.
Yes. So
What they,
important.
isn't it? Yeah.
So important.
And the realization they've had, even by having to be in lockdowns or work from home or changing the way that they work or being put out of work. And they've had that time to think, is this really what I want to do?
Yeah.
And they're going to put up with the workplace how it was, or do I want more?
Yeah.
And most research would say people are leaving for toxic workplace cultures, what they might term bad bosses.
Haven't we all had a few of those?
And when you think of that, and I've seen that too, like at the same time that I was going through this and realizing this and seeing, wow, there's a vicious cycle starting. There's a vicious cycle of people leaving, workplaces saying, oh my gosh, we need staff.
Yeah.
And our experience as the public going into places where there isn't enough staff and we can't get in and can't get served. And I'm standing there thinking, what is this cycle? What could we intervene in? Where could I potentially make a difference to this?
Yeah.
And the other statistic that I've been seeing going up, which unfortunately is mental health, and the amount of instances that what I'm reading is 1 in 4 people have a mental health issue. So the rate of mental health issues, and when I even say that, I don't say that lightly, because there is also clinical mental health issues, but there is that feeling of anxiety and depression that just comes over a whole lot more of us because of the increase in uncertainty.
Yes.
So that's what's really led me into saying, you know what? I love what I do, and I've worked with some beautiful teams and beautiful organizations. But what if I could go out and work with more? What if I could spread myself and take the passion that I have for people and working in teams and taking my insights and learnings over those 25 years and just sit with leaders and be in businesses and really help them have a look at what's happening. What's the patterns we can see? Why are people leaving? How could we make this a workplace where people want to be? They're tapping on our door saying, we want to work with you. And a lot of the time that comes down to the leader.
And education of that leader, because they always say the fish rots from the head first. And sometimes in those toxic environments, it is the leader that is the toxic person that's filtering it down through the team. And
that's actually a beautiful segue and reminder for me, Sharon, because that's the thing I work on most with businesses and their leaders is self-awareness. Like you said before, I think we've all had a boss that we've just gone, oh,
like, what is wrong with you?
Why can't you hear me, or why can't you listen to me? Or why do they behave that way, and why does work have to be so stuffy, or you're walking on eggshells? That's the worst one too, where you feel like, I can't be myself.
And sometimes they don't know.
No.
Like the leader doesn't know that they have an issue.
So think about this, right? You go to not all, but most leaders, and the pattern I see, and in the workplaces I've worked in too, they go to uni for 2, 4, 6 years to learn technical skill. Right? They become great at what their technical skill, like so good at it. The next step they see is, oh, I'll lead the team. And workplaces also have this great talent, and they're saying, well, what do we do with them now? Oh,
Yeah.
we put them in leadership. That's the next progression.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is it? Is being the technical expert your next progression, leadership?
Mm,
Or are they separate skills? Can you have both skills? Absolutely. Can we
yeah.
train anyone to be a leader? Absolutely. But you've got to love it. And you've got to
Yes.
love people. If you
Yes.
love the technical expertise of work, stay at it, be great at it, and find opportunities to increase it. Because if you don't like people, don't get into leadership.
Won't be a good leader. Yeah. And I have seen in my days gone by of working in the corporate world, and it's horrible. And when you have a leader
Mm,
like that, it does definitely filter down through the ranks. So the plebs at the bottom, I shouldn't really say that, the people at the bottom, they're actually being affected the most because they've got like multiple levels of those types of people above them. And
yes,
I've been that person right at the bottom where you're copying it from all angles, and it's terrible.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I picture myself back there, and this is probably something that I took on in my leadership and learning leadership as I went on, was remembering, never let go and never forget what it's like when you start in an organization, when
That's
you're
it.
meeting people and building relationships, even 25 years on, or it's more than that now since I started working, it's probably 27, 28 years since I went into my first job.
Yeah.
Remembering those nerves, sitting in that experience and remembering what it was like being a new person. And that might be many years for some leaders or
Yeah.
owners. But if you can go back and remember and then create that experience for your team, back and remember what it was like and think, yeah, I remember the day before I would start in my job and the nerves, I wanted to vomit. Oh my God,
Yeah.
are they going to like me? And I've been accepted. I haven't tried it yet. What if I can't do it? And the human mind, we start overcomplicating, overthinking. Some people mightn't even want to turn up, and some people don't turn up to their first day. But as a business owner or a leader, if you can think about that employee experience and put yourself back in those shoes, what could you do the day before?
Yeah. From a nurturing point of view, it would be amazing. Yeah.
A little text message that says, hey, I'm so looking forward to you starting tomorrow. Let's meet at this time and we'll just start with a coffee.
Yeah.
Imagine that person. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
they're human. They're human.
Yeah. It's quite amazing. And I know you talk about mindset a lot, which I love, and I love watching you speak because you do speak very passionately about this, and just those different mindset patterns that people have. And if you are watching, I'll get Mareena to put her links up at the end. So if you are in business, pop across to her page because she has some really interesting chats on her business page, which are amazing. And I do love watching them. And I have got a lot out of your talks as well myself, because
Good.
I work in this sort of space in a different sort of
Yeah.
way. We always learn every day, right? As business owners, we learn every day. And if we get to the point where we stop learning, I think we're done.
Completely.
If you think you know everything, you're pretty well done, because we just learn every day. And I just recently took on my VA, and I know she was really nervous, but you know what? I was probably more nervous when she came on, thinking, oh my God, this is so exciting. I was like, what can I offer her? What can I offer her? I know what she's going to offer me potentially, but what can I offer her? So it does go both ways as well, I think, sometimes from a management point of view. But we just did a beautiful chat. We spent 2 hours together just talking about business, life, animals, kids, all sorts of stuff, and just really broke the ice like in a beautiful way. And I think that's really helped the relationship already now. And I think, yeah, just people being aware of that sort of thing within themselves, either from an employee point of view or a management point of view, I think is really important. So
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really lovely. Yeah.
And that again, it comes back to that self-awareness.
Mm.
And I love that too, because sometimes, and in the past as well, I've coached people on moving careers or change of careers, because you
Yeah.
can see it's also that helping organizations realize that you can have a great journey with someone, but often for growth, it's time to go.
Yeah.
It's not a personal thing. So how do we also help exit people in a beautiful,
Yeah.
human, respectful way that it's okay when people leave? Like it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be this big explosion or tanty.
Yes.
Oh, we hate each other now, we're leaving. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be that way either. So there's the beginning and there's the end that I love to look at as well.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
when we think about that and we are looking for where we might want to work or employees in the team, you're spot on, Sharon. It's reciprocal. It's a two-way relationship. And when we are looking for places to work or employees to bring into our business, it's not always, what they're going to do for me.
Yes.
It's also that employee sitting there and saying, do you have what I need?
Yeah.
These are my values. Is this workplace going to align to my values?
Yeah.
Now, if we think back, you
Love
make
that.
me smile when I think about the bosses, right? The bosses that we've had in the past. And for those that have one of those now, hopefully even listening to this might give you some help in how to have the conversation. But I will never forget a moment, just a quick story. I will never forget a moment very early on in my leadership career. And I became my previous boss's peer.
Ah.
So now we're peers. And wonderful boss when I was in the team. And then when I moved over, it felt quite competitive. And I don't like that competition. I just wanted to help this person become an even better boss because I've worked with this person.
Yeah.
And I also knew they had so much to teach me.
Yeah.
And we used to do these like 360-degree feedback as leaders. So the company I work for did these 360-degree feedback for leaders.
Wow.
And which is really helpful because it helps with self-awareness.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes we're walking around doing stuff and we don't, like you said, we don't realize we're doing it.
Yeah.
And no one, sometimes, I shouldn't say no one, because there are some beautiful people in your team that will tap you on the back and say, do you know you do this? It's really annoying. I love those people because they're there helping you. It depends how we look at it, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes we walk around and people are too scared because it's the boss. Oh, I can't say the boss because they pay my wage and I want to have a good relationship with them. Anyway, we do this 360-degree feedback and the peer who used to be my boss is sitting over at his desk and we get the results emailed to us. And I hear this bang on the table. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, like my heart starts racing and I thought, oh no, what's he read? And stood up and said, who in my team said that I'm aggressive and hard to work with?
Oh, and he's yelling.
So he's doing the thing that people had given feedback on in the 360-degree feedback.
Oh my goodness me.
So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'm the other leader in this room right now. I have to get up and say something.
Yeah.
But the thing that I will always take away from that is, wow, we can walk around with these blind spots.
Yeah, definitely.
And we just don't know. And it's very human. It's not just leaders, it's all of us. We walk around with these blind spots, but how beautiful would it be if we had people around us that loved and nurtured us and cared so much that they could say, hey, I'm saying this because I love you and I'm saying this out of care.
Yeah.
But when you do this, I don't know if you've recognized, but when you do, this is the impact you're having.
Yeah.
And I know you want the best for us and I know you want a great team or whatever it is that you're doing, but I need to let you know because it's getting in your way. And I want you to be great, but unless you don't know, it's going to keep getting in your way.
Yeah.
Now imagine if we could build workplaces where conversations like that are just normal.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Amazing. And it can happen. And I've worked in them and now I'm coaching businesses and leaders to build what I would say courage, I say guts.
Yeah, yeah.
To be able to have these conversations, but do it in the safety where we know this is the way we work around here. This is our culture. We are here for each other. We are here to get the best out of each other. Leaders, I don't care what role you play, This is just the respect and love that we have for each other because we want each other to be the best.
Yeah, it's amazing.
When we each other are the best, guess what happens to business?
Oh, you would grow exponentially.
What happens to customer service? What happens to clients?
Yeah, it's like a domino effect, right? Where it's just, and that's probably not a good analogy because they're being knocked over, but imagine it going the other way where it's all being lifted up. It would just be so amazing.
What I love to call this, because it goes beyond business, right? What I love
Yeah.
to call this, which you've probably all heard, is the ripple effect.
Yes, yes.
Because you think about, go back to that cranky boss example I gave. Imagine those people in the lunchroom or having a break together, they're just miserable. Imagine what the conversation is when they go home.
Yeah.
They'll just be complaining about work and their boss.
Yeah.
Now switch to this other way of the way we work around here, the way we support and grow. And sometimes I get feedback and it hurts, but I know they care about me and that's why they're telling me. Imagine the conversation that then goes on in the lunchroom or the Zoom room, the break room, wherever you are working.
Yeah.
And then imagine what happens at home.
Yeah.
Like the conversation at home changes. So the family conversation, the dinner table changes.
Yeah. And it's like a frequency. I talk a lot about frequency in energy. Like
Yeah.
the anger and fear is like the low energy, and love and happiness is a high energy. And when we vibe those, other people definitely pick up on those. And the higher energy, definitely there's a lot more in it for us as human beings than that lower energy. So that's another conversation for another day, but
it is. But just quickly to finish there is to say that energy is contagious.
Oh, definitely.
You feel it. You walk into, and I think I've spoken about this before, probably on one of my lives, is you walk into a coffee shop, you walk into wherever it is, a bakery, wherever you are today, you feel it. You walk in, you feel it. So imagine as leaders knowing that we have a choice. We have a choice of the energy we want to be contagious in.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing there is, I think, and I've done this before, is pay somebody a compliment for no reason. I've done that many times. I go to a coffee shop and I'll say, you look really nice today, or I like your earrings, or oh, I love the color of your lipstick. I don't know if it's a woman, if it's a guy, obviously something different. Pay somebody a compliment and just see the reaction that you get from them, because that will then make them feel good inside. It passes on though.
And it keeps rolling. They then start seeing great things. So, you know, it's like we can stay in that negative energy of everything that's gone wrong this morning or what's happening at home. We can move to have a look at, wow, look at all the stuff we actually have.
Yeah.
Beauty in this room. Look at the earrings, the hair, the smile, whatever it might be, as you say. It can shift in an instant.
Yeah.
Absolutely shift in an instant.
Yeah.
The energy, the service, the business, whatever it is, as you say, wherever you are, just that shift.
Yeah.
Everything's going wrong to, oh, I love your hair. Will absolutely just shift the energy of a team, business, room, wherever you are.
Yeah, I love it. And I know I'm very mindful of time and I know you have to go, but tell us what your one amazing tip for business owners would be today. Your one amazing tip. I know you have a million, but one if you can pick.
How do you pick one? But I think I just have to stay on that, Sharon, before rather than jumping into a new topic. I would absolutely have to say, if there's one thing I could give you today, the instant change, an instant shift that you can do anytime today is, are you focusing on what you're missing or are you focusing on what you have?
Yes, beautiful. I love that.
And just ask yourself, when you're in a moment today where things aren't in flow, where you feel you're rubbing up against things, why isn't this working for me? What I do is just stop and say, Mareena, what are you focusing on? Are you in the past of what, and regret of, and missing? Oh, I didn't do this. I should have done that. I don't have this. If I had, this would work. And I probably am most of the time. When I stop and say, actually, let's just take a stock take of what I have. Wow, I have this beautiful dog in my life. I have this family. I have this laptop. I'm speaking with Sharon. I have these opportunities. As soon as you shift to focus on what you have, your energy shifts.
Yeah. I love
So
that.
I say that, have, or are we focusing on what we're missing, or are we focusing on what we have?
Yeah, I love that.
Use it all day, every day.
Beautiful. I love that. I love it. Mareena, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you. And I'll get you to pop some
Yes,
links
I'll do
in
that.
the bottom. So any events coming up that you've got, and a link to your page or group as well would be great. And anybody that wants to connect with Mareena, definitely pop over and have a look. She's full of beautiful wisdom. I love it. And I do watch her often. I'm a little bit of a stalker, but that's in a good way.
I love it. I love it, Sharon. Thank you so much.
Cool. And I'll definitely chat with you again soon.
Thank you. Would love
Awesome.
to.
Thank you, Mareena. Bye for now.